What's up, Bertini fam? Now in today's video, we're gonna be discussing my MotoVlogging setups. Now many of you have asked me about this before, so that's why I decided I'm gonna go ahead and make a video on this. This way you guys can get my GoPro setups, my helmet setups, as well as all of my settings that I use when I ride. This will help you in creating your perfect MotoVlogging setup. Now at the time of filming this video, we are in 2022, so this is going to be the best MotoVlogging setup in 2022.
Nice.
Now do me a big favor, if you have not yet clicked that subscribe button, click that subscribe button right now. This way you can stay up to date on all of my future content. Now that we got all the formalities out of the way, go ahead and roll the intro. All right, so I'm gonna be discussing two different helmet setups with you all today. By the way, look at my cool unicorn glasses. These are the bestest in the whole world. The absolute bestest. Anyways, back to these helmets. So the first helmet that you're looking at on the left here is the Simpson Ghost Bandit carbon helmet. Now this helmet is my primary MotoVlogging helmet. The only real mod I've done to this helmet is I blacked out all the grills on it. Oh, and of course I've done this really cool tinted shield as well as a pin lock. For those of you who don't know, the reason why you'd want a pin lock on most of your visors, especially if you're doing any form of MotoVlogging, and that is primarily due to the fog that you're gonna create in your helmet from talking with all that hot ass breath. It's all good, we all got it. Now, before I get into this complete setup here, I'll go ahead and show you my other MotoVlogging helmet. Now, the other helmet is the Ruroc Liquid Carbon 3.0. And then I run a pink shield on this one. And of course, I also have a pin lock on this one as well. Now, in terms of similarities here, they both run Sena 50S comms, as you can see, and I run that big old microphone that comes off the Sena 50S. I don't care, I like it, it's all good, and it sounds super clear. I love these things, by the way, they're very nice. Now, I do have a third helmet here, but I don't use that one primarily, and I'll go ahead and bring it into frame here in a minute. But the reason why I'm showing you these two is because these are my primary helmets that I use. Now, the third one that I use is this one, this micro dot half face helmet. This one just has a simple GoPro mount here, and this is primarily used for content that I don't need to be speaking on. I just want to capture the footage itself. The thing that I like about this one is it's super lightweight, but this is not a good MotoVlogging setup. Now, first off, I'm gonna talk about this one, my Simpson Ghost Bandit Carbon, because this is the one that I use more than any other helmet. And when I say any other helmet, I primarily mean for MotoVlogging. This is my primary MotoVlogging helmet. Now, in terms of the setup that I have here, I have a GoPro Hero 9 Black, or GoPro 9 Black, Hero 9 Black. I don't even know how they word them anymore, but it is a GoPro Hero 9 Black. That is my primary GoPro that I leave on here, as well as an ND filter, which I'm gonna explain here in a second what I use this for. Then I have this Moto Rads holder here. Basically what this does, it's the GoPro microphone adapter, right? So let me just show you right here. It's the GoPro microphone adapter, which then plugs into the GoPro, which allows me to run a simple microphone plug. And then I have the battery door that allows for the open slot. This way I could just plug this right into the GoPro, and it's just a pretty simple setup. When I want to remove the GoPro, I simply unplug this, and it's just easier to take off of the helmet, which I'll go over all that whole setup here in a second. So this holder is from Moto Rads. I'll make sure to put a link in the description box below where you can pick this up from. Now, in terms of my GoPro mount, I run the mount from Ride Tech. There is also another brand, I believe they're called Chin mounts or something like that, but I'll go ahead and put links to both of their products in the description box below. The Ride Tech one is the one that I've been using for some time now. It's the one that I've run on all of my MotoVlogging helmets. And then if you notice here, I've changed out all of the fastener screws here to these shorter ones. This way it gives a nice, clean, simple look to everything, and it keeps the exact placement of where I want my GoPro mount to be at every single time. And then in terms of the microphone, I run the Purple Panda is what it's called, I believe, with the dead cat on it. Now the dead cat I did trim off significantly. I cut a bunch of it off just so it's not like going in my eyes or anything like that, because obviously it's a really big dead cat.
That's what she said. Or he said.
And then how I ran all of the cabling, I've used black Gorilla Tape, and I've done it really, really clean here. This way it looks like a really, really nice setup all the way down into my helmet. And a small zip tie here just to keep the cord, once again, super nice and clean. That is exactly why I've run it this way. I took a lot of time putting this setup together. This way everything is super, super clean. And then getting into my helmet, I do have this like chin blocker, air blocker thing on here. I don't even know what it's called, but I have that on here because it does get rid of some of the wind noise that these helmets produce. Now, when I put this setup together, the one thing that I did was I gutted out the complete helmet of all of its padding. I ran the cabling the way that I would like it to be permanently, and then I just put all the padding in there, so everything was done super clean. This way the helmet is still comfortable, or somewhat comfortable, for me to wear. By the way, in case you're wondering why I go with carbon fiber helmets and just not any helmets, especially with motovlogging, this setup starts to weigh a lot. When you get into motovlogging with all of your comms and equipment on, batteries, etc., it could become a big, big pain because it's now become really heavy. Now, really quickly, one more thing to mention while we're all talking about sound here is the other option that I have done before is I've used these Rode wireless Go-To microphones and mounted these to the back of my helmet and then record audio on these, which the audio does come out absolutely amazing. It's a challenge to have this recording and this recording at the exact same time all the time and then matching up all the sound footage. And look, I know there's a lot of moto vloggers out there that do that, and that's great. But for me, it's just all about getting out there and actually getting the content. And then I still think that the sound quality is pretty decent for what it's worth that GoPro provides. And so I don't really find much benefit with all the extra time consuming aspect that goes into putting this on there, like mounting it on the back and having everything ran that way, and then having this thing record constantly as I'm riding. I really don't find much benefit in that. But I do want to note that if you're looking for the most premium quality, you can run one of these setups on the back of your helmet, and then of course just run your microphone cabling there and turn this thing on, and it'll just pretty much record everything the entire ride, and then you match up your footage to the audio recording. Now, even though the Ghost Bandit is my primary riding helmet, this is actually not my favorite helmet. Between the Simpson Ghost Bandit Carbon versus the Ruroc Carbon, I actually prefer the Ruroc. Now, as of me filming this video, I am not associated with Ruroc in any way, shape, or form. They are not a channel sponsor, but I do call out products that I like, and this is actually one of those helmets that I do like. I think Ruroc makes a great helmet. I think that in terms of moto vlogging, I think that it's very difficult to beat a Ruroc helmet. The reason I think that is because of the way that the chin pads are structured, as well as this frontal piece of the helmet. It's set up where there's enough space between where your mouth ends and where this ends that the microphone is literally not right on your mouth. Which, by the way, when you start getting into editing your content, all of those little things make big differences. Now, getting back to the GoPro setup here, I do have a protector on the front screen, and of course I have a protector on the rear screen as well. And this is where I place my comms microphone, and as you see, that is where I have run the cabling for the Purple Panda. One thing to note if you're using these simple microphone setups is they come with an extra piece, especially the Purple Panda, that you do need to use. It's this adapter that I've put in here and ran this way, but you are going to need to use this adapter. You cannot just simply take a lavalier microphone and run it directly into this adapter because it's not going to work. And if you're curious how I know that, because I spent a whole lot of time figuring that out the hard way.
But did you die?
By the way, if you're interested in this hat I'm wearing, this Trask, oh man, this thing looks so good. In this Trask racing hat, I'll go ahead and have a link in the description box below. Basically, when you buy this hat, you go out, everybody thinks you're a racer, so you look so much cooler than you actually are. At least that's why I bought it. That's why I wear it, is because it makes me look so much cooler when I go out. People are like, oh snap, look, he's a race car driver, or he's a motorcycle racer. I mean, they don't know, it's all good. It makes me feel so special, and so that's why I wear it all the time. But anyways, I'll go ahead and put a link in the description box below. This way you can go ahead and cop one if you're interested. All right, now back to this. One thing I did was, before I put this Gorilla Tape on, especially on this mount thing here, which you're not gonna be able to see, or not mount, but the adapter here, is I went ahead and took some like heat shrink wrap, and I wrapped it and then I heat shrinked it. This way it's basically like a waterproof setup. I hate riding in the rain, by the way. I do everything not to get caught on any raining days and riding, and I know you guys can say whatever you want, but I made sure that all of my setup was as waterproof as I'm gonna get, or water resistant as I'm gonna get, just in case I actually got caught in the rain. Now, in terms of the functionality on this, basically, when I want to take off my GoPro to remove the footage out of my helmet, I simply unplug this here like that. So super simple. This is what it basically looks like. That's what I'm plugging into. And then I unscrew this here, pull this off, and voila, the GoPro is now off of the helmet. And now let's say you don't have tons of helmets and this is your primary helmet, but you don't want to ride around with your GoPro on all the time. Well, guess what? Now you don't have to ride around with the GoPro on. You could literally take it off and this is fine. You could ride around just like this.
But wait, there's more.
Now, some of you scientists out there might be asking, why is it mounted off to the side? If the mount itself is directly in front of your chin, why did you mount it over to the left? Well, that's a good question for you mad scientists out there. The reason why I mounted it slightly over to my left is so that you all, when I'm riding, get a first-person view of what I'm actually seeing. So I'll go ahead and show you some sample ride footage. This way you can see exactly what that looks like as I'm riding and what you're actually seeing. Now, if you didn't mount it this way, if you didn't mount it off to the left, you're basically going to see not exactly how I'm seeing it or how the rider is seeing it. You're gonna be seeing it at an off angle. And so for those of you who are interested, that is what you are going to need to do, is to purchase one of these setups that basically allow you to shift over the GoPro just slightly so that you can get that first person view. With that being said, that is my whole riding setup. If you're interested in knowing why, if the Ruroc is my favorite, why do I use the Ghost Bandit? Well, that's actually very simple. I do not ride around in this helmet 24/7. This is strictly for my motovlogging setup. Or I should say primarily for my motovlogging setup. This one, while I'll use it sometimes for motovlogging, the primary usage is me enjoying riding around. And if you wanna know, why do I prefer carbon fiber helmets and not other helmets? That's because when you start adding all this stuff on here, it increases the weight of the helmet. If I were to take a base helmet that is not already super light and I start adding on all of this stuff onto it, it's gonna add a lot more weight and fatigue. When you're riding around for several hours trying to capture GoPro footage or motovlogging footage, that puts a lot of stress on your head and neck. And I know I sound like I'm complaining, but trust me, it becomes a big deal after about 30 minutes. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take off my GoPro Hero 9 Black here, and I'm gonna run through these settings on my GoPro so you guys can see what are the absolute best GoPro settings for your motovlogging setup. Keep in mind, this is my opinion. These are the settings that I like and the footage that I like to watch when people motovlog. Does that mean that you're going to like this kind of footage? Maybe not. Maybe you don't want to have the same kind of footage that I had. Maybe you prefer a different style, and that's okay. Play with your settings, see what you like. I found the settings that I absolutely like, and that's what I go with. So keep that in mind. These are my opinions. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go with these things. You can go ahead and do whatever you want with your GoPro and your motovlogging setups. And that's the beauty of the world. We can do what we want so long as it doesn't hurt anybody. All right, so first to jump into my video settings. Now I run this on cinematic is the format that I use, and my settings are as follows. So the resolution and the frames per second, the FPS, is 4K 30 FPS. The lens, I have that on, is super view. Hyper smooth is turned off. Scheduled capture is turned off. Duration is no limit, and hindsight is turned off. Timer is also off, and then the zoom, I have that at 1x. Now for Pro Tune, I have bitrate as standard. Shutter is at 1/60th. EV comp is not applicable. White balance is on auto. ISO min is on 100. ISO max is on 800, which I'll explain here in a second, my ND filters and why I need them. Sharpness is on low, color is GoPro, raw audio is off, wind is off, and media mod, it is camera mics. But keeping in mind, I use that purple, whatever the purple thing is called, Purple Panda. That's the one that I actually use, and then I use the GoPro adapter. That's how I capture my sound. My shortcuts are lower left is lens, lower right is zoom, upper left is slow-mo, and upper right is hyper smooth. Not that any of these things are gonna matter to you anyways. Like I said, I primarily use the record button to turn on and off the camera anyways. When I need to record and say something, I hit it, I turn it on, and when I don't, I hit it and I turn it off. Now, to show you is I primarily use an ND16 filter. The reason why I use this particular filter is because I live in Central Florida and it gets really, really sunny here. That's the reason why I use the ND16 and not any of the other filters. Which, by the way, I'll go ahead and put a link in the description box below where you can get these from, and I'll link the exact ones that, of course, I use on my GoPro. Now, the reason why you need this ND filter on is because of your shutter speeds, and then also the amount of light you're letting into your camera, like your ISO, min, and max value. But the reason why you adjust these are to get that really cool, fast motion, if you will, footage that I get in my motovlogging setup. So if you're in a really sunny environment, highly recommend use the ND16, or if not, you can use, I believe it's an ND8. The kit comes with 4 of these ND filters, and I believe it goes up to like ND32. But I only need the ND16, so that's typically what I use here in Central Florida. Now, that is my entire motovlogging setup. In total, that is the complete package on what I use and my GoPro settings. Now, I will be including links in the description box below where you can purchase everything that I went over in today's video. With that being said, if you can though, do me a big favor and click that subscribe button. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. That really helps me out. That really helps the channel out. And go ahead and comment down below if this video helped you out. I would greatly appreciate it. With that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Make sure you're putting good energy out there into the world and you're paying it forward. I'll check y'all out later. Bye now.